before you ask any person, well, what was it like over there? Do you really want to know, or are you just like saying, how was your morning? Like, good morning, how are you? And you know how we walk off. If you're really going to ask something like that, to ask a veteran something like that, they are opening themselves up to a piece of their life. And you're asking him to open up his soul to some of the most emotional, some of the most catastrophic, some of the happiest, some of the saddest moments of his life, you know. And whether they've been deployed or not, that's a part of who they are. If you really want to know, you really need to make sure that you have time to listen.
Well, my name is Marco Antonio De Laura. I joined in 2004. I was just sitting at home one day, and then I was just like, I had to do something. I was like,
my name is Javier Hinojos. I'm 22 years, retired Navy. Retired back in September '04. I joined the Navy June 1981, about basically 2 years after I got out of high school.
I joined the military in 2004. I was a junior in college at the time, and I needed to grow up.
In the service, my name was Yolanda Mack Morrell. I was part of the U.S. Air Force, and I was a information technology troop.
My name's James Humble Sanchez. I was in 83, 84, 85, and then again in 86, 87. I first went in as an enlisted member. I was an MP, and the second time I went in, I was a Maverick. I went in as a warrant officer candidate, and then was able to go through flight school and then became a warrant officer.
My name is Darren Haggerty. I was in the Army for just under 5 years before I got out.
Well, my name is William Dollarhide. I joined in the United States Air Force in May of 2000.
Well, my name is Jeffrey Cruz. I'm 22 years old. My branch is the United States Navy. Right now I'm an E3, which is a seaman.
First it was at all-important place Paris Island, and then I went to Lejeune for my first duty station, and then I went on 2 med floats to where did we go? Spain, Italy, France.
I became a gas turbine specialist, and there's 2 sides, mechanical and electrical, and I chose the knuckle dragger side, the mechanical side.
I went to Fort Benning, Georgia, joined the infantry. I did my 9-week training, and then the 14 advanced training. After that, I was actually stationed back in Georgia, same place where I did my training, which pretty much sucked because I was hoping to go somewhere else.
Spain, Italy, France, off the coast of Tunisia.
About April '93, I ended up recruiting duty. I was recruiting out of Los Angeles, the district. And I recruited in my hometown area, La Puente.
When Anwar Sadat got shot, we got caught up in that, so we had to circle around for almost 2 months in the middle of the ocean.
I was stationed out of Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, in Oahu, and was there for 3 years. That was the first time I actually moved out of California, and my family went with me. And we were only there, like I said, 3 years, but my family still says, I want to go back.
I actually kissed the ground when I got back. I really did.
Went to Shepherd, Lackland in 2000, and then went to Shepherd Air Force Base for my technical training. I'm a 2A6 X1. I'm a jet engine mechanic.
I was a information technology troop. I was stationed at Langley Air Force Base in Hampton, Virginia. It's a really nice place.
I got sent to Japan, and that was about the time that Beirut bombing, and Japan was a blast. Loved it. Wish I could have stayed there.
I joined the military, and then I went to artillery school. I started out as artilleryman. 28 days after getting home and starting my senior year of college, I received orders that I was going to infantry school, and I was being sent to Iraq for 18 months.
Wow. But we went to Kirkuk, and I was there for a month shy of a year.
In Iraq, I was front lines. I was a part of the 2 of the 130 battalion out of Illinois. One of the oldest units. Abraham Lincoln was actually part of that unit, so we had a lot of history. It was an infantry unit. It is an infantry unit. very, very deep history, very proud unit. We did the things we did in Iraq and came home. Then when I came home, I knew I was going back to Afghanistan.
We were getting ready to go back to Iraq. So it was OIF 3 because they just came back from Operation Iraqi Freedom, the first tour. We knew that pretty much like within 6 weeks we had to get ready to deploy back over there.
We're going to be reading things they carried on campus next year, and it talks about Vietnam veterans and what they carried with them while they were in service. Either physical things that are memorable or important to them.
As far as objects or attitudes?
Either one.
Anything? Gosh, that's a good question. I've never really thought about that either.
We didn't really have to, we weren't really required to carry something physically. I mean, you carried it, whether it's a rag in your back pocket or a knife that you were always using for whatever, a Leatherman or what have you, that kind of stuff. That was a good utility tool. But
As an officer, you're required to carry your basic load. That's a writing instrument, something to write on. That's a handkerchief, a comb, and a lighter.
In Iraq, being infantry, we moved around a lot, and we'd go weeks without showering. We had to pack light. We had to pack super light. And you were already carrying, as an infantryman, you carry as much ammo as possible and your baby wipes and hand sanitizer for your baths. And those were kind of the essentials. So anything above and beyond that, you really didn't want to carry a lot with you.
Most of my friends try to carry, may seem kind of weird, but try to carry their wit about them, how to get through boot camp, what to do to survive, the torment.
I guess I carried the feeling that, after boot camp, that I could do more than I thought I could.
Yeah.
Yes, after that drill instructor was on my butt. I never thought I could run 5 miles before. And when I did that, it's like, wow, I can do this.
The most important thing I had on me, besides my gas mask and my chem suit, was my phone card, international phone card.
Yeah.
And I had family members and friends who used to always just put minutes on it. And just to hear home and hear, other than my brothers and sisters I was there with, was to hear family. And that meant a lot.
I wore a bracelet, which it's not this one. It was I have another one that it's kind of funny because these are so in fashion now. They're made of 550 cord. But when I was in, they were good luck. We call them our good luck bracelets. Everybody had one. And I think the only reason we wore them was because they were out of regulation. You weren't allowed to wear them, so we thought we were being rebels when we wore them. When I came home, though, I had attached a lot of my emotions to this thing, just because it represented all of the. I don't know. It's kind of weird. It was when I took it off, I felt normal, like I felt like I blended in. But when I was, I just felt invincible when I wore, one of these. So I wore my Iraq one for years, and then when I decided to marry my wife, I gave it to her as kind of the symbolism of, okay, listen, there's some issues I got to deal with, but I want you a part of them. It was kind of cool. She took it and made it into a shadow box. She put a picture of me in Iraq and hung it up with my dog tags that I wore over there, and it was pretty cool for her, But and then Afghanistan, I got another one because I was in combat again, and it was this one actually, and I gave this one to my wife when I got home as well, so she has both of them. And it's not really. It's kind of indestructible. Both of them been blown up, shot at, burned. But they still kick, so I guess they're good luck,
The first thing that comes to mind is something my dad gave me. When I left, my dad gave me a necklace, and that necklace was it's a cross, and so I would wear the cross. And I'm not a religious guy. I've never claimed to be a God-fearing guy. I respect people's religions and what they believe in. I've just never been that guy. But my dad gave me this cross, and to me, it symbolized my family's love, their support. That's the physical thing that I carried the most with me.
One thing I always carried was actually this. You're talking about weight. This thing is heavy, but it was important, so it carried a lot of weight for me. What this was my wife, a friend of ours, got us journals. We wrote in it all year. I wrote in mine and she wrote in hers. And then when I came back from Afghanistan, we traded them one night and we read them. And we spent a couple days. It took a couple days after a year. And so I always carried this with me. And so like if there was a long day or or something, a couple days I was like, I haven't written in 3 days. I've been so busy. I still love ya. Stuff like that. So I carried that with me.
My dog tags.
Yeah.
I remember, I guess maybe it was TV or just being in boot camp and actually listening to your TI and them telling you things like, you need your dog tags to identify your body. You just, and not to make it sound negative, but it was just like, if something does happen, worst case scenario, I do want to be identified. So my dog tags, maybe my my wedding ring.
And then there was a couple of pictures that I slipped into my body armor vest. The body armors have the place where you put the bulletproof plate and stuff like that. Well, you can slip stuff in there. Well, you don't want to slip a bunch of stuff because the vest weighs anywhere from 30 to 100 pounds depending on what you're carrying and stuff. So I always carried I carried these 3 pictures. These are my wife on our wedding day. And I got them laminated so that they wouldn't get ruined.
What you carried was that whenever you did anything, and specifically more on shore duty, on sea duty, it's you're down in the engine room or the fire room. You did a good job because you wanted to be safe, because if you're working on something and then your watch is over and you turn it over, the person coming behind you has to be able to rely on you that what you did was the right way and that you didn't cut corners and that they didn't have to try and figure out what corners you cut. More of a sense of concern for your shipmate that you carried, just in your being there and your mindset that I think if you talk to people that are in it now, that they'll say, I don't miss the Navy, but boy, I miss my shipmates, and you really do.
As far as physical items, I carried the basic load, nothing other than that. But from the military, I carried concepts, I carried beliefs. And the officer's code of honor is to not lie, cheat, or steal, or tolerate those that do. And then loyalty above all but honor. And with those two, I basically lived in the military. And when you encountered a situation you didn't or hadn't been trained exactly to handle, you fell back just on those 2 basic concepts.
The other thing I carried actually was this. It was this Gideon's Bible that I got in basic training. It's hilarious, boot camp basic. It's like you'll grab anything that's free, anything that makes you feel like you're an individual, and not part of this massive, cattle that is moving from one place to another. And I got this in basic, and actually I carried it with me through Iraq, and I used to put it in my side pocket on my leg, and it was so funny because the main, the chassis of the Humvee, because I drove in Iraq, would get so hot, and the only thing that kept me from burning my stinking calf was this Bible, because it could sit right up against between my leg and the chassis of the Humvee. Yeah, who says the Bible can't keep you safe? Right?
When I was in Iraq over there, I always carried a picture of Saint Michael. He was the angel of battle.
It's okay.
like, I actually think that it helped me. Like, I had the angel, you know, to care of me.
Memories of home. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's gone a lot. It's gone a lot. And I can't speak for other vets. The things I carried with me were just basically thoughts of home. You know, just missed home, a girlfriend, or when I was in Iraq, my wife, my kids in Korea.
I had one thing in my locker, and that was Theodore Roosevelt's Man in the Arena. And that's all I had. And that was the philosophy that I ran my life from in the military and after the military.
Can you tell me a little bit about what that is?
Oh, the Man in the Arena?
Mm-hmm.
I actually brought that in case you were to ask. It was in a speech he made in France at one time. It goes like this: it's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least he fails well daringly greatly, so that his place shall never be with those timid and cold and timid souls who know neither victory or defeat. Those persons out there who are actually trying, the people that are actually in the arena, even if they fail. I think the worst thing you can do is not try.
On June 16th, 2006, you know, we went out for a mission. You know, and I was in the front vehicle with the lieutenant. And then Corporal Long, you know, somehow he just wanted to be in that vehicle. I was like, all right. You know, I couldn't do nothing. I was only a private at the time, you know, private first class. So he was iron rank. He wanted to be the gunner. I was the gunner. So I got kicked out of the vehicle. So, you know, I went to his vehicle where he was at, and, you know, we went to go to the mayor's office because the mayor was corrupt. We had him as a prisoner already. He was in jail. We went to go pick him up, and he took us to his office to get all these paperwork. While we were down there, you know, there's fire going on. The Iraqi police, Iraqi army was getting attacked. So, you know, our lieutenant was like, hey, we got to go out there and try to help them. So we went. It was pretty much an ambush. I mean, you could say that the Iraqi police and army were in it, but, you know, it was just different. So, you know, we still had to help him. You know, our lieutenant was a good guy that he just saw good in the people over there. Mm-hmm. You know, he was from a Christian family, Christian background and everything. So we went down. They pretty much ambushed us, you know, on the way down there, and our lieutenant's vehicle got attacked pretty bad. They actually had it booby trapped where almost every vehicle was gonna get blown up, but it actually stopped. The vehicle I was in was right behind them, and then IED just went under them and just blew them up. The only person that was able to survive was the driver, and luckily they got blown up right beside a riverbed, if you want to call it a river. It was crap, you know, shit water and everything, and he fell in there, but he was all burnt up, you know, 3rd-degree burns all over his body, everything melted on him, you know, his helmet, the chin straps. You know, he was the only one that survived. You know, even now to this day, I still talk to him. But it's still hard. Like, I remember when I first saw him when we got back, it was just, like, I couldn't look at him physically. It was just something hard. Like, you know, I just kept my head down and, you know, but like I said, St. Mike was something that was very special to me, that at the time I knew that he was looking out for me or something. So I even got a tattoo of him, you know, put on, like when like in August, I got leave to come back. That's when I got the tattoo in my 2 weeks. I was like, it's just something, I was afraid to lose that physically, so I knew that I had to have it on me. The way I think about it is like, why did that guy kick me out of the vehicle? And then I think about it, it's like, okay, I'm here for a reason, so.
The crew allegiance in its, you know, bigger picture, I guess. You know, wanting to do the job right. You start a job and it's toward the end of your 12-hour shift and you're not quite done, and you stay, you pass it on to the other guy and you say, hey, I'll give you a hand. If we go take care of it right now, I'll give you a hand. And they're like, no, go home. No. I started this, I want to finish it, or there's particulars I need to go show you.
I keep it with me every day. I do not take it off ever. It symbolizes everything for me, like just everything with my family, the way we are together, the way we stick together, the way no matter what we do, where we are, the way we love each other. Protection. This is protection. This is family protection. This is just. I mean, love is one of the most strongest things that we as humans feel, and when you got something like that protecting you, it's hard for anything to defeat you.
Can opener. This has been with me for, God, I can't remember, 5, 10 years maybe, at least, and it's come in handy a lot when I didn't have a can opener at work. A little hard to use, but it works. But this always reminds me of the service, and every time I use it, I think about when we go through the field, and
Stop. As soon as I separated from the Air Force, I tried to go back in immediately. As soon as I did the road trip down from Spokane, Washington, came back to San Bernardino, I called the recruiter immediately. I even called the Army and the Marine Corps, and everybody's just downsizing so much with the end of the conflict starting. Wouldn't let me back to my family, and that's what I miss most, is the camaraderie and the unity, the family, the structure. I'm still having a hard time with it. I've been out, like I said, since April of 2012, and I'm still having a rough time.
don't know why that happened.
Is it because of the good times?
Yeah.
Friends?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I miss those times. But you know, life goes on. No, I think about all the good times we had, and it sort of reminds me of just all the guys I hung out with, all the times, good times we had, bad times. You know, things wouldn't work out, but we'd always eat. Okay. But yeah. But yeah, that's what this reminds me of. So that's why I carry it.
I carry a lot. I had the appreciation, first of all, from serving. I think being active duty, going into Iraq and meeting those people, you can't walk away from that without some sort of appreciation. That's the mentality that I take away from it, because you can't walk forward without knowing where you've been, sort of thing. I have two other things. This tattoo that I have, this tattoo is the initials of the girl that I was dating from Iraq, and people say, "Oh, that's a mistake. You never get the tattoo of a girl that you've dated." She was my guardian angel. I mean, literally, like my best friend when I was out there. The one person I could talk to. Doesn't matter that we were dating, or that we broke up, or I don't care what anyone says. I will never. You want to marry me next, girl? All right, fine. But this tattoo's not coming off.
So now that you're back here, do you feel like there's things that you carry with you from your time in service?
Oh, there's a lot, you know. Like, every day I think about it. You know. About, you know, my friends that I lost over there. 2 weeks we lost a sergeant right away. And that's when you wake up and you're like, well, we're at war.
So it was really hard when I came home to wear this. And I would put it on and I would keep it by me. I would keep it by my bed. And it's a memorial bracelet of our First Lieutenant Frank Wolcott. He died the same week that I took my R&R leave. So I was in his truck, I was his gunner, and I got to take my leave. I got to go home. I got to go visit her. I got to go visit my family. And, you know, I find out that he got hit by an IED while I was on leave, the kind of thing that I was normally fortunate enough to be able to stop or see, or, you know, hey, don't do that. You know, and so I wear this, and I'm thankful that I'm here. Sad that he's not here, that he doesn't get to be with his family. I'm sad that he'll never have a kid, you know. I got to come home from Iraq. I've got a beautiful daughter. I get to make something out of my life. I get to see my family. And so that's what I wear. And these are the things that I carry with me, that I wear in my heart, in my mind, every day.
Mm-hmm.
Your responsibility is not only yourself, it's your buddies. And they teach you that from day one. And then you come back to society and it's not like that at all. It's all about, can I get through this red light without anybody notice, and screw the person that I might hit, or I gotta get ahead in the grocery line because, you know, forget everyone else. It's all about me, you know. And so when you come back to that, it's disgusting. It's disappointing. And there's that brotherhood there that, you know, then you come home and you literally go from having it to a plane right away and you have nothing, you know, and you don't have that support. And it's extremely scary and nerve-wracking, you know. And that's why those guys, you know, you fight so hard to see your family, and then you're like, I want to go back over. Because here's the thing, that's your family too. Yeah, you have your family that you're married to, and you have kids by, and all these other things. But then you have the family that you fought with,
And I think if you talk to people that are in it now, that they'll say, I don't miss the Navy, but boy, I miss my shipmates, you know.
If you think about it, you're with them 24/7. You're seeing each other no matter what. You have to see each other. You know, here you're like, oh, hey, good morning, and see you later. I'm out. You know, if you think about the whole time that you're bonding with them, it's probably more than a lifetime that you would probably spend with the whole family member together. You know, besides like sleeping with somebody, like your spouse or somebody. You know, that's the only time that you're actually physically together.
You might not be as politically correct in the civilian world, but in the military world, I fit just fine. Sometimes I may say things that are obvious, but not correct politically. But
well, now you take that one bad day that a civilian had and multiply that to every day or every other day. Those guys are going to be affected by that, you know. And so it doesn't mean they're crazy. It just means that that transition back into the civilian life is going to take a little longer,
right.
You know. And there needs to be an understanding of that, you know. Personalities are going to be different, things are going to change, you know. But there needs to be almost a patience that, you know.
if it doesn't look like it fits, if they look like you're getting 10 times the emotional response, And then obviously you've tapped into something, and it's not the issue in front of them, it's the issue in front of them and everything else they dealt with. One of the ways to cope is you simply you remove yourself from your emotions, so you can do exactly what you need to do when you need to do it.
You know, it's been 3 years since I got home, almost 4 years since I got home from Afghanistan. And it's been 6 years, almost 7 years since I got home from Iraq. Still feels like yesterday.
What I would say for anyone who's got a soldier coming home is just know that every soldier is different. Every soldier has different experiences, and as I've talked about, it's a wide range of emotional baggage.
Good buddies of mine who have been diagnosed with PTSD, and they talk about that struggle, how people judge them and things like that. He's like, how can we go through 3 years of war and not come back scarred? And then I don't want to talk about it because I'm afraid somebody's going to judge me. But the thing is, the best way to deal with it is to talk about it. Mm-hmm. And so it's very disappointing that guys serve their country, come back scarred, emotionally scarred. Not all the wounds are physical. Mm-hmm. And then they're judged. It's like somebody losing a limb and then they're judged because they don't only have one arm.
My biggest problem coming back was handling the lying, cheating, and the stealing. I mean, you're just not built that way anymore. And then you run into people and you realize just because they said it doesn't mean it's true. Whereas before, if somebody said it, you based your life on it.
Don't say anything to lessen their experience. Don't say you weren't in the field, so you don't know what it's like to be a soldier.
People just badmouth the military, saying, we couldn't get into college, we're retarded, we don't know what we're doing, I've heard people say we're bullet catchers. That's what we are. I mean, to me, it's just ignorance.
Don't ask me if I've killed anybody. And don't ask me if I've ever seen my buddies die. Don't ask that.
I got a lot of stupid questions when I came home. Did you ever kill anybody? Have you ever been blown up? No, I haven't killed anyone. Please don't ever ask me that again. Please tell anyone else that you know. Don't ask your soldiers that. Don't ask don't ask them that. It's disrespectful. That's a human life. If someone had to kill someone, do you really think that they feel good about it? That they want that they want to be asked that? Have respect for the life that they had to take. Have respect for the life that's still here, that has to live with that every day. Well, did you ever get blown up? Okay, yeah, we were in combat. Bad things happened. I lost friends. Please don't ask me that. It hurts, I lost friends. So, asking stupid questions like that, it hurts. Those are the kind of questions. I can't even I can't even talk about that without even getting emotional.
You shouldn't tell them that the military is stupid because it's what gave you what you got. It helped you to have what you have, because if it weren't for the military, maybe who knows where we'd be or what we'd be doing now. There's people out there that put their lives on the line every day. They grumble and gripe and complain too, but they do it because they want some place to come back to.
When it comes to talking to your soldiers or your friends and family who are military and they're coming home, if they want to talk about it, let them. If they don't want to talk about it, don't encourage them to. Leave them alone. Just let them be them. If you feel that they're experiencing problems, I encourage you to talk to them about the problems, but don't encourage them to relive their ghosts.
Well, one of the kids goes, "Have you ever been injured?" And I said, "I have." And I was like, "But I'm okay." Like, well, the guy you protected, since the bodyguard, did he ever get injured? I said, "No, I did my job well." And he goes, "Well, what did you do to the person who hurt you?" I thought there for a second. I was like, well, I could really answer this as a true combat vet and have a 1,000-yard stare and go off, you know. But these are kids, because they were really concerned. I said, well, we captured him and we made him say he was sorry. Something. And the kid's like, oh, okay. Was he sorry? He was very sorry. And we left it at that.
Greet them, respect them. You know, they give us what we have, and tell them thank you. Yeah, just tell them thanks for their service, and that's it.
Say thank you. It makes me feel good. I'm thinking about something that someone said, and they said thank you for my service. It makes me feel good.
Thank you for your service goes a long way. Really, I wear this hat a lot. I wear this shirt a lot. I've had conversations with guys that were in the military long before I was. Maybe they served in Vietnam. I'll see them with a hat on, and my stepdad was in the 82nd Airborne, All Americans. It's like their icon is two A's in the patch. And I saw him. He had a 82nd Airborne hat, and I walked up to him and I said, sorry to bother you, but I just want to shake your hand and say thank you for your service. My stepdad was in 82nd Airborne, and he was in Korea. And he's like, oh yeah, have a seat, young man. And, you know, I'm 52.
You know, it's nice to be appreciated. It really is. It's nice when somebody's like, thank you for your service. I know that's so cliche now, but every time I get thanked, I never, it never gets old, ever. It never gets old, because it reminds you of the time of you were doing something that was above and beyond. These guys, we served our country. Yes, it was our choice. Yes, it was, whatever. But we now have to do double the work, because now we have to get back into a society and provide for our families.
People that went in gave up a lot. They gave up a lot to be there, and some of them decided to stay and some of them not, but they gave a piece of themselves so that you could do the things you wanted to do and say the things